Hello everyone, welcome in my channel ASP.NET Core. Today I am going to show you Web API in ASP.NET Core. So it's a CRUD operations I will perform. Let's start. Select API in Visual Studio and create a student class. So first of all, I'm going to show you create a model. So I'm going to these steps. Create a project and in Web API, and also add a model folder in a Web API in which you can add a student class, product class, as well as many other classes as you want. So class, and here we have two data in the class, that is ID and the name, change the type like string. Okay, so it's a very good thinking to create a video like me. If you have a code, then to give to your viewers for helping purpose, this types of code, just create and create a video. So after that model, you will create a data class for the context class. So data folder for the context class. So db context resolve this namespace, and in the context class you can add a student in the db set. After that you can add this line in the startup.cs file. Use SQL server for the connection strings, and for the database you can say. So use SQL server like this, services.add db context equals to option, use SQL server, resolve the namespace of the use SQL server, and also the context, and that context class is actually exist in the data folder. Now after that you can add a connection string in JSON file. Here is connection string, and default connection is the name, is similar with the startup.cs file. Okay, so this is the thing to consume Web API. In this video I am going to show you CRUD operations with the consume Web API in ASP.NET Core. So add a new controller. The name of the controller is student, and in which you can create a get method, post method, http delete method, http get with the parameters for the details. So after that you can add migrations for the database. Add migration first to initialize some values or initialize some objects in the database. So update database, also fire update database command in the console, package manager console. After completed this line, you have to create a new web application project in the same solution or any other solution, because your web API is created successfully. Now after that, first of all, in the controller section of your web API, add this line root API and the name of the controller. So use square brackets, and in the class, first of all, create an object of the context and initialize that context to retrieve the data. Now the first thing is to http get for all, you want to get all the students. So list of students is here, and I want to get all the students which is exist in the database field. So you can get all the students, get all the students. Get all the students. Okay, so this things is very clear, and in the web API you get all the students. Now after that you can create a new web application project. Okay, add a new web application project with model view controller. Okay, actually this project hold a view model, not the model, but in the but you can clear it but you can modify that code with the view model, the name of the model folder with the view model folder. Okay, so just copy that code and paste it here. So first of all, create a model folder in the web application and create a class that is the student data, the hold the same data of the previous model. Now after that, you can create a new folder with the helper class to access the HTTP client information from the from WebAPI. So you can pass the base address actually in the helper class. So remove it and create a new class for the student API. Here is exist student API, and here is the HTTP client with the initial method. HTTP client actually access the information from WebAPI, so mandatory to use it here. HTTP client and client.base address, and address is what? There is address. So just right click on your API and properties and debug, and that is your the URL of your web API. So base address, or you can say the end URL, you can say. Now after that, you can add a new controller folder. So you can add a new controller, and there is, in which you can add these things. First of all, student API in the controller section, resolve this issue, resolve the namespace, and by using the API you can get the get method in the index method. So just copied it and paste it here. You can see that index method is actually list of student data, HTTP client information, HTTP response message. API.initial method call with the base or end URL, and get async method call the end URL, API, and the name of the student, name of the controller, that is a student. So you can check, there is the route value API and the controller name is the student. So there is API and the student. After the successful code, your response will get 200 and result will hold resource.content.read string asynchronously and result. And after that, you will get the JSON data. You deserialize that deserialize the JSON data into the serialized object. Okay, so first of all, add some data into the database table. Oops. Yeah, there is the CRUD API test connection. Okay, okay. Now after that, table, right click on it, student, and here is the name, Jacob Smith, and just run your application after deserialize your JSON data. Now create a index view with the list of type by just clicking on the right click of your index action method in the home controller section. Okay, it's very simple. Yeah, there is. Now right click on your solution name and start both projects. Click on start button to run your application. and your application output is here. You can check your end URL. Here is Jacob Smith, and just I want to get all the details. So in index section of your web application project, and just change it index view section, ID, and the primary key is ID, and that ID is to pass to the controller section. So just open the home controller index method, and here it is, and that pass that ID to the home controller section, and home controller section actually hold the details method. So just open it, first of all web API, and get the single data. Okay, so just copy the single data with the HTTP GET, where ID is the parameter name. Yeah, HTTP GET ID, and get a student with the ID context.student.where, and that in the home controller section details method. Where is the details? Yeah, there is the details method. So just copied it here and paste it here with the ID parameter. API call the base address, API student brackets ID. Here you can pass this parameters, success code, read, and deserialize the object. Okay, resource.content.read as string asynchronously. So resource the read the content, and after that you can create a view for the details and just check it. It's very simple. Think you can design a web API in ASP.NET Core, and also consume the web API is the simple thing in ASP.NET Core. So just after that you can make the details. You can also use the create section also. So just copy the post method in the student folder. Here you can put the data. So HTTP post method is used if you want to use the create section. So HTTP post student from body student, and model state dot is valid, not a valid, and after that you can save the value. Now in the home controller section, first of all create a empty action method for the create, and after that post the data. After that click on the submit button. You can post the data to the controller section. Just add a view for the create and the student data. Okay, just remove the ID because there is no need to it here. So just remove it here, removed from it here. Okay, so just removed it, and in the create section HTTP post create, just copied it here, call the base URL and use post as JSON async. Okay, post task dot wait and post task dot result dot is successful status code, and just API and the students. Here pass that student object from the from body. Here is your output of the create method, create action method with the web API. Or you can consume web API easily using the create HTTP post method. Just click on it. Student data is the ND. Yeah, here is an ND. Okay, now after that you going to the section is the delete section, and after that you can edit yourself. Okay, so just use the delete section. In the student section, just use the delete section also. HTTP delete, HTTP get with the ID, HTTP post, HTTP delete also there in the application ASP.NET Core applications. Copy and this HTTP delete with the ID, get the ID, find the ID with the single object, and remove the single object from the database. Now after that you can open the home controller section, and with the home with the view folder of your index page, and also pass the ID when we click on the delete button in the URL. Now home controller, add a delete method with the get only. There is no need to post it here because the post is already applied in the web API project, so there is no need to HTTP post it here. Just get method to it here. So just unselect it and use HTTP get with the delete action method. Yeah, there is. Just copied it and paste it here. So thank you guys for watching this video, and keep watching all other videos which is related to ASP.NET Core. If you want to learn many more things like Blazor, ASP.NET Core with the AngularJS, so please subscribe my channel. Also you use the bell icon to get notifications from my side, and get latest videos about ASP.NET Core, Blazors, and new technologies like Xamarin and mobile applications, forms, and many others. So here is your output of the delete section, and create edit section yourself. Thank you very much for watching this video.